welcome back to my channel. I know I say this every single video, but I'm so excited to be finally filming this video. It's been a little while since I prepped all of my makeup bags for markets since I haven't had very many recently. But we have one coming up next week, so we need a whole bunch of makeup bags, not only for that market, but also markets following that one. And my bin right now, full of makeup bags from my last markets, I think it's only like half full, like there's probably 10 in there. So not very many, and we need to make a whole bunch, especially because I've launched so many new makeup bags recently that we have a lot more fabrics that we need to prep and make makeup bags with. But for this video, since makeup bags take me so long, like I can't stress how long they actually take, and every single step is so intricate and you have to measure everything and make sure that you have it exact, otherwise your final product is just not going to turn out very good. So because of that, I think for this video we're going to do 1 or 2 steps a day for the next week. And I finally planned out where I have a week to make all the makeup bags, because usually I get to the market day and I'm like, uh-oh, like the market is in 2 days, I need some makeup bags, and then I quickly have to make all of them literally all day, all night, and then I'm like exhausted by the time they get to the market. But this time I have finally learned, and we're gonna prep a week ahead of time. So let's go ahead and grab our notebook. Let's figure out how many days we have, how many steps we need to do a day in order to exactly land on that market day and have them all ready by that point. I know you guys have been seeing a lot of this little notebook here, but it is perfect for this kind of use so that I can figure out how many days I have. So today is the 25th, Wednesday 25th. And the market is on July 4th. So let me see exactly how many days we have. All right, so the 4th is next Friday. So we have a week and 2 days. And then I also want to plan out, I mean, I'm still getting online orders, so I need to plan out a day to just fulfill online orders. So I'll probably have to put in like 2 days, because usually I pack all the orders like 2 days a week. So we'll figure in 2 of those days. But for now, I'm gonna write out like Friday the 27th, Saturday the 28th. So then we'll be able to figure out what we need to do every single day. And then every morning I can just come in this notebook and say, all right, we need to do this, and then we'll be done. And then, you know, after that, I can like work on orders, I can work on prepping something else. Like these won't take all day, and that's kind of what I'm going for, because usually prepping something for a market takes me all day for an entire week. And by doing this, I'm hoping to eliminate some of that like stress and just constant sewing. Like I just get no breaks. So I'm hoping that this will really relieve some of that. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days till the 3rd. And then the 4th, I mean, like everything should be ready by then, because that's literally the market day. So now I need to figure out all the steps for our makeup bags. Okay, I just sat here and wrote out every single step of the makeup bags, and we have a total of 20 steps. And that's kind of like squishing some things into one step. Like if I'm pinning something that also had to be cut beforehand, I'm just like squishing that into one step, because that's kind of self-explanatory. Like you gotta cut it before you can pin it. So now I'm gonna take all 20 of these steps and somehow squish them into the next week. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. And I'm gonna maybe mark off Sunday for our order day, because then I can ship them out on Monday. And usually I do orders on Sunday anyways. Okay, so then that means Wednesday, today, we're gonna be, actually wait, that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. So that's like what, 2.5 steps a day? I mean, that's not bad. Like today, I think we could get 1 through 3 done, which is cutting the fabric in the liner, putting it on the batting, and quilting it. I mean, that's like really, yeah. I mean, that takes a long time, but we can go for that. 1 through 3 for today. Then tomorrow we can cut out all of that, pin our first step, and sew it. So that's 4 through 6. Okay, then Friday, sorry, this makes like no sense, but I have all my steps on this side, and then on the other side, I'm writing down what steps from this list I'm gonna be doing throughout each day. So then Friday, I feel like we're just gonna do 3 steps a day, just about. So Friday we'll do 7 through, I think we could actually do 4 on this day. 7 through 10. Saturday we'll do 11 through 13. And then Sunday is marked off for our orders. Monday, we're gonna do 14 and 15. Tuesday is 16 through 17. And then 18 through 20 for Wednesday and Thursday of next week, depending on if I have orders that need to get out those days. Like we can kind of shift around those steps there. So here's our full notebook full of all of our different steps, so that in the morning I'll just open this up and say, all right, we need to do steps 7 through 10 for all of our makeup bags. And the reason why I'm doing this step by step is because bulk prepping everything takes so long. If you're gonna go, all right, let's cut out this one makeup bag, then sew this one makeup bag, and then, or like quilt it and then sew it and then add the bias tape and then flip it. Like, it takes so much longer to do them individually rather than doing like 100 at a time, which is what brings me to my next idea. Is I really want to shoot for like 100 makeup bags. But like within a week, I feel like I'm like really overestimating my ability there. That is kind of insane. But then I'd have those 100 ready for the next market. I guess like minus whatever sells at the market, but I'd have 100, maybe like 80 ready for the next market. And then this is like the start of a snowball. Like I always have makeup bags on hand for a market. And then all I have to do is just sew what sold at the market. It's not like I have to make a whole nother batch again. Does that make sense? And especially with holiday season coming up, I'm like terrified for all the markets and just I have so many plans. So I just need a whole bunch made anyways. So I'm like, why not just add like a couple more? I like how I say a couple more, but like add 50 more to what I usually prep. But I think we can do it. I think we could do 100, and we have all of the materials for 100. Like I made sure that we have enough stuff, like fabric, batting, zippers, everything for 100. So I think we should be good there. But before we can actually start cutting out all of our fabric, which is our first step here, is we need to count all of our inventory from our previous market, all the makeup bags that we already have. And then we also need to start a new spreadsheet in like Excel or something so that we can figure out how many of each makeup bag we need to make in order to make 100 total. And then among that, we might do like 2 of a makeup bag that doesn't sell very well. We'll do like 8 of a makeup bag that sells really well, like the colorful picnic, the ditzy pink, the pink and yellow floral, the cherries. All of those ones sell really well, whereas like the pink hearts, the pink gingham don't sell so well. Some of the newer ones. So we'll just kind of go off of previous trends from markets and online sales to figure out which ones we need to make more of. Because the worst thing at a market is when you run out of all your best sellers and you're like, well, I have the same amount for the ones that don't sell so well, but I would rather have the ones on sale that everybody wants, or have the ones available that everybody wants. So let's go ahead and start our new spreadsheet so we can get these numbers filled in. All right, so here's how the spreadsheet looks for how I figure out all my different quantities. So this is actually pretty old, all these numbers here. These are just from, I think, before junk stock. So I would figure out how many I already had in my bin here. So that's what this whole column is. And then market exclusive, this was just if I had added like bows to them or anything. So they weren't listed online. Like for example, this pink peony, I remember I had a pink zipper on this one, and online it was just a white zipper. So this one wasn't part of the whole total that I had to be able to sell online. So that's all that this column is. Committed is if one of them had already sold, I would have to take it out of the bin for an order. On hand is the total on hand, because sometimes I had 2 different spots. So current could be like 1 tote, and then on hand would be like the tote plus whatever's on like a table or something, like if I had 2 different spots. Sometimes it gets a little bit confusing. Or if I had 2 different totes of makeup bags, that's how I'd calculate that. This column F is what I need to make in order to equal 6. So here is just a formula. You just take 6 minus E3, which is your on hand. But we're gonna go ahead and change this to figure out how many we need for each one. Like I'm gonna say like colorful picnic, we need probably like 8 or 10. So this formula is going to be a little bit different from, say, cherry red. And then it's going to be different from mini colorful flowers, because they all just sell a little bit different. And by this point, I can kind of figure out which ones sell the best. And then make to equal 4. I honestly don't remember what this was for. I feel like it was if I couldn't make 6 in time before the market, then I could at least make 4 of each. And so then that's what that number was. And then cutout is just, sometimes I have pre-cut out fabrics for all these makeup bags. And so I would take out all of those and then subtract them from how many I need to make. And then that's how many I actually need to cut out from the bolts of fabric. And then limited quantities were just down here. I kind of kept them separate so that I didn't focus so much on them, whereas up here, like I needed all of these for online and in-person markets. And then down here, we just have the liner fabrics. So how many of each I needed to cut out for the totals up here, since some of them have different liner fabrics. So we're gonna go ahead and remove all of these numbers here, which feels so wrong, but trust me on this, it'll be a lot easier once we figure all this out. So for this, I'm actually just gonna change this to on hand right there. Market exclusive, I feel like I'm gonna keep because I think I still have like this pink peony. I still have a soft green with a blue bow, so that'll be one market exclusive. Committed, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of since I just did all of my orders, so all of them should be made already. Then that'll be our total on hand, which I need to update down here. Oh, I guess we'll just change this to total actually. And then this, I'm just gonna say make. And I want this centered, and I'll just copy that down there. This, I'm gonna go ahead and delete because we don't need that anymore. And then cut out will pull down here as well. Okay, so now these makeup bags here, I know I still have online, but I have a lot more now. So I'm gonna go ahead and add all of our brand new makeup bags into here, just like add some more rows, and then so that I'll be able to track all of our new ones as well. We now have makeup bag quantities, and under the current quantities, I sorted these A through Z, and these are all of our current makeup bags, not including the In Full Bloom collection. Then down here we have the limited quantities, and some of these I still have some fabric for, so we'll be able to make some of these, but I'm debating not even taking them to the market and just making them for the online orders. And then down here we just have the liners, which I'll just label here. So now let's go ahead and get to counting how many we have on hand, how many market exclusive we have, so then we can figure out how many we actually need to make of each. All right, here is our tote from market season. As you can tell, not very many left. Usually I use a huge tote for my makeup bags and I like have to squish them down to make them all fit, but in this case, I mean, this is all that I have left. So clearly what I have left is pink gingham. I have a ton of pink hearts and pink and yellow floral. So those are ones that just didn't sell that well over the course of the market, because I remember for this one I made the same number of makeup bags for every single fabric. So that means going forward, I probably won't make so many pink gingham, so many pink hearts, but other than that, a lot of them sold really, really well. And so here's an example of our market exclusive ones. So this one is the pink bows and it has a white bow on the front of it. So this one isn't listed online, so I'm gonna consider that one a market exclusive. So this is like one that I wouldn't be able to just sell online. It would have to sell at a market. And then same with this one. This pink gingham has a pink zipper on it. So this one isn't available online either. So that one would have to sell at a market. Also this one has a pink zipper instead of the typical white zipper that I use. So this one would also have to sell online. And then same with this soft green one. This one I should probably list online because it probably sells so quick, but has a little blue bow on the front of it. And I feel like this one will probably end up selling at a market. So we'll also save that one. But let's just really quick count how many we have. So we have 3 pink gingham and one of those is a market exclusive. Okay, we have 2 pink and yellow floral. We have 1 soft green, which is a market exclusive. We have, I think, only 1 of the mini rose and 1 vintage blue, 1 mini colorful flowers, 4 pink hearts, 1 cherry, 1 of this blue floral, which I had 2 different versions of this blue floral. I have 2 that are just very similar to each other. So this one is the new version, and then the old version is the one that I'm gonna keep like going forward. I don't know, I guess I could keep both, but I just don't have the fabric for both. So that one is the new version, and we have 1. And then I think that is it, right? Yes. All right, so we can put this tote back, but now that we got them all counted, and we know that we don't need so many pink ginghams, so many pink hearts, we can kind of reduce the number that we make for those, and then we can add that number into the colorful picnic, into the green patchwork, all the other makeup bags that sell a lot more than those. So I'm really just gonna guess at this point which ones sell the best, because I have a good understanding of which ones sold out first, just from all the different markets that I've been to, and no matter what market I'm at, those ones sell out first. So I know the colorful picnic. I know the vintage blue does really well. Even though I have one left, it does really well. The green patchwork does incredibly well. Ditzy picnic pink. So all of those, I'm gonna make sure to have a lot more than all the other makeup bags. So I'm really just gonna guess when I type in the total that I need to cut out. But I'm gonna go ahead and just fill out this whole spreadsheet so we can get started on cutting, because it's currently 11 o'clock and I really wanna get through all the quilting for today. All right, I got our full spreadsheet updated with how many we need to cut out, including which ones are the popular ones. So for the ones to make, I did 5 minus our total that we already have. And then for the popular ones, I ended up doing 10 minus how many we already have. So we're gonna make 10 of the popular, 5 of the regular. And in total, we have 130, not including the limited edition quantities. So I think we've got our work cut out for us. So let's go ahead and just get started on cutting all of these. And then as I start cutting, I'm gonna update how many we actually cut out, including the limited edition quantities, since those ones will be kind of iffy on how many we actually have, because I need to see how much fabric we have. All right, step 1 is like halfway done. And that is, we have all of our fabric cut out here. I don't know if you can see how thick this stack is here, but it's crazy just how many different fabrics we have. And I'm saying step 1 is halfway done because we still need to cut out all the liners for these. So I went and calculated how many we need based on how many we actually cut out. So here, I sometimes didn't cut out as many as I actually was supposed to, just because that's how the measurements worked out better. And so then over here on the liners, I calculated how many we actually need of each liner based on how many we actually cut out. And it gives us a total of 121 bags, which is a little bit concerning. I will say that 121 is a lot to do in just a week. And it's like making me procrastinate. I'm like, I don't know if I can actually do that many. I was calculating how long it's gonna take me to quilt them, and it's like not good, basically. So with that being said, let's continue. Let's go ahead and cut out all the liners for the bags and then get all of these on some batting so that we can start the second step, which is quilting them. All right, I finished up cutting out all of our liner fabric, and I also started putting some of our outer fabrics on batting. So that is what this whole stack is right here on my chair. So I'm gonna move them over to our table and start sewing. Because number 1, I'm running out of pins, and I feel like number 2, if I just do this in little chunks, so this is like 30 something, I think I counted. If I just do this in little chunks, I think it's gonna make it feel a lot easier to go through the rest of this stack. That's what I'm hoping anyways. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started sewing these. This is probably all I'm gonna end up doing tonight because it's currently 6 o'clock, but I'll see how far I can get tonight. now day 3 of our project, and all 122 makeup bags are all cut out and ready to be pinned. And I can't believe that we're already to this step. It feels like the quilting yesterday and the day before went so quick that now I'm like, I gotta start pinning and start sewing these makeup bags. We are just a little bit behind schedule, like, and by a little, I kind of mean a lot. We're supposed to be through the 3rd round of sewing by the end of today. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I at least am gonna get through the 1st round of sewing, which is just the label and the 1st liner and the zipper. And then maybe we'll start on the 2nd one, but I really don't think we're gonna get to the 3rd, but we'll see. I'll try, we'll see. So let's go ahead and get to pinning these and keep on going. It is now day 4? I think it's day 4. Yesterday, we worked on the very first step of all of these makeup bags, and we have successfully made our way through the 2nd step of all of these sitting to my right, whereas all of these still need to go through that 2nd step. So we did all of the cutting, so like cutting out the actual size of the makeup bag from the quilted fabric, and then we also sewed step 1 of the bag yesterday. And then we pinned step 2, and I made it halfway through step 2. So we got a really good chunk done. I'm gonna double check our journals, see where we're supposed to be, which I think we're still not caught up from where we even left off. Like, I feel like we started off on the wrong foot. So today's Saturday. We're supposed to get through steps 11 through 13, which is pinning the 4th round, okay, and make bias tape, because we need a lot of bias tape for these makeup bags. And we are currently at step 8, if that gives you any idea of how far behind we are. So we need to get through sewing this round, pinning the next round, flipping them, making the bias tape, and then sewing in all of that bias tape into the makeup bag. Because the bias tape, oh no, sorry, why am I saying bias tape? Pull tabs. I need to make all the pull tabs for that, and then I need to cut out bias tape for later steps. I'm really hoping that we can do all that today. That's a really big chunk of the makeup bags that will be done, and if we can get through all of that, then next week will be a breeze. All those days of like cutting off the zippers, cutting off the corners of the bags, flipping them, everything like that. So let's just get right into it. Let's just start sewing. All right, we've got all of them through our 3rd step. Yeah, I think this was our 3rd step. So I finished up sewing the 2nd liner to them and then sewing both ends of the makeup bag. I know it doesn't make much sense, but this is now the 3rd step done. So we have all of them here. I'm gonna go ahead and flip them, pin them, and then we'll get to the 4th round of sewing, which is what we're supposed to get through today, which I think we might be able to. It is about 1 o'clock now, so if I just put my head down, we should be able to finish it. But before I do that, I need to make some of the pull tabs. So I'm going to show you really quick how I like to make them. So first thing that I do is I cut out the fabric that I want to use, which this one happens to be a 108 width fabric, so it ends up being this long after I cut just one strip off of it. So that's one thing that I do recommend, is to get a really wide fabric, because then you'll have really long strips and you have to cut less. It just makes it a lot easier. And then the easiest thing that I've found for making these is, instead of ironing this entire piece and all of my other pieces that I already cut out, I literally just fold this over, and as I'm sewing, sorry, let me cut that thread. But you'll see, as I start sewing, I just hold it at the back here, so I kind of fold it in with my hand, And then as it pulls it through, it just makes this really even crease along the side. I don't recommend this for like larger chunks of fabric because it's just not going to be very even, but for something as tiny as these pull tabs, as tiny as I'm cutting them, I just find that this makes it a lot easier and quicker for me to sew through a whole bunch of the pull tabs. So if you're also planning to make pull tabs, this is just the way that I do it. It's the way that I've done it for a long time, since I've done wallets with pull tabs for a really long time. I just cut the width a little bit different for the keychains versus the makeup bags. And I also keep the pull tabs the same color regardless of the bag, which is something that I could change for like limited edition collections, but for all of my products that I have year round, I just keep the same pull tabs on them since it matches most of the liner fabric. It just makes it nice and cohesive. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew some of these. This takes not very long, but it takes a ton of thread and a ton of bobbin, so I'll probably end up changing those. So I'll just sew through all these and we'll start cutting them and then actually pinning all of these makeup bags. It is now day, I honestly don't know. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is day 5, Sunday, which technically in my notebook here I have marked off for orders. However, we are at such a good stage in these makeup bags that I think we could get through adding both bias tapes, because we need to do two different steps of bias tape. I think we could get through all of that, and then tomorrow we can continue flipping all of the bags and then they'll all be done. So here's what I'm looking at. So these are all the different makeup bags, and we also have another stack back there. But these are all of the zippers and everything that I cut off with my scissors here. These scissors I just keep for cutting off my zippers or like anything that's really hard on my hands, because these other scissors, I used to use these for cutting off zippers, but the holes in these scissors just hurt my hands so bad that I used to get blisters everywhere. So I don't use these anymore, and they're so dull I can't even use them. So I've resorted to these ones, which are fairly new, but they just have this spring action on them, so I don't have to like worry about getting blisters on my hands or anything. The closest that I've had was on my finger here, but I can't tell if it was just from lifting weights or if it actually was from these scissors, because I like rub at the bottom, but I don't know. So these ones I'll have linked in the description. They're also on my Amazon storefront if you're interested, but they just save my hands while I'm doing things like this. And me and my dad were actually researching this morning some like actual tools that you can get from like Home Depot or something that would be easier to cut these zippers with, because I also have like wallets and Kindle sleeves and pencil cases and everything like that that also have zippers. And so it'd just be nice to have a tool to be able to cut off zippers with. But anyways, I don't know if you'd believe me, but it's currently 8:30 in the morning. It is just super rainy out, so I've got the lamps and everything on in here, and I'm gonna go ahead and start adding our very first bias tape to the side of these makeup bags. So I just use it to cover up the side here so that we don't have any of these raw edges on the inside of the bag, but we just need to start adding those, and this part shouldn't take too long. At least it shouldn't take near as long as the second bias tape that we have to do later on, since that's like 4 corners that we need to do. So this 2 sides should probably take me just a little bit of time this morning. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get started, and hopefully we can wrap up all these bags today and tomorrow. Okay, we now got through the very first step of adding all the bias tape, and now our next step is to cut out the little squares out of the makeup bag. And I got these brand new scissors, which are amazing. I can't even express how amazing these are. This is just what it says on the little scissors, so you can pause and read that, but here's what the actual package says. So they're the 7000 series. These are actually life-changing. I used to use these little Fiskars ones, which I showed you earlier, both of these. So I used to use this one exclusively just for fabric, and then I use these for also zippers and everything, so like cutting off this, until these got so dull that I literally couldn't use them anymore. And I still could use them to cut off these little squares, so I did that up until today, but these ones are incredible. Let me just show you. I'm just gonna do a little slice on this square. I don't even have to put any pressure, and it just, like, that is insane compared to, let's do a little test here, compared to these. You see how there's like so much resistance there? And then compared to these, which, I mean, these aren't that much better any. See how much resistance there is down the line? Whereas these, I can literally just hold it and it doesn't move at all. That's incredible. So these ones I'm gonna be using to cut out all 4 sides of, or like all 4 squares for all of these makeup bags. And then we'll be on to our very last step, which is just sewing those corners, adding the bias tape, and then we'll get to flip them all and enjoy all 122 makeup bags. That is insane. But it's almost noon now, so hopefully I can get all these squares cut out and sew them all today. It is now exactly 1 week later, and we've officially finished every single makeup bag from this batch sewing. We made a total of 122 makeup bags, and I have never done even close to half that in one batch. So this was definitely a learning curve, like realizing that I can only do so much in a day and taking breaks, but we did end up finishing it all within a week and in time for my market, which is in 2 days. And throughout this video, you might have seen a makeup bag that you like, so you can shop on xoxocharlie.com. I do offer these online as well, but also feel free to come to one of my markets. I always have all my different makeup bags there, and I'm gonna be prepping some more so that I have them in stock for every single market. But I'm so happy with how they turned out. They're adorable. Every single one has the pull tabs on the side. They have the durable zipper on the top. They are just adorable, and they're the perfect size for holding all your cosmetics, your hair care, everything for on the go and by your vanity. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this bulk sewing video. It was definitely a long process, but we got there in the end. And now I'm probably gonna start my second batch of 122 makeup bags because we have a lot more to make for holiday season. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Mwah. Bye.